Hey humans, how's it going? Susan Ruth here. Thanks for listening to another episode of Hey Human Podcast. This is episode 458, and my guest is Chad Covington. He's the founder and CEO of Creative Within, and he grew up exploring the world of computers and their language and their inner and outer workings. And we chat AI, artificial intelligence, its applications and implications, and what that technology means for humans moving forward, how we will evolve with AI or not, how AI will evolve with or without us. Very interesting conversation, and I mean, timely. Things are getting pretty weird out there. Thank you, by the way, for your patience. I've been gone for a couple weeks. I was in France, I was at Cannes and in Seattle with my short film, and also my mother had a heart procedure. It went really well. She's doing fine. So thank you for your patience while I was going through all those things and doing all those things. And we're back, and I appreciate your patience in between. Check out heyhumanpodcast.com for links and to learn more about my guests and the show. Check out susanruth.com to learn more about me and my artistic endeavors, and find my music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, or wherever you go for that kind of thing. Rate, review, and subscribe to Hey Human Podcast on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. Be well, be kind, be love. Here we go. Chad Covington, welcome to Hey Human.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Everything about you is intriguing to me, what you do for a living, what interests you. So I'm really excited that you're on the show.
Thank you. I'm excited too. I am.
Let's dig right in. Tell me where you were born. Where did you grow up? How that shaped you?
Wow. Originally from Hampton, Virginia. It is a town of athletes, I would say. The majority of the people there are competitive, play sports in some nature, from what I've seen. Athletes and military. It's a big military town as well, too. So I was raised by my mother. I have a ton of sisters. I have a big family of sisters, I'll say cousins, my God family, but the main person in my life that was important to me was my mother. The person who gave me the whole foundation in my life, spirituality, and just she's the reason why I am who I am today. So
Good job.
well, thank you. I'm sure when she hears this, she will be happy. But she's a phenomenal woman.
What's it like being raised in a family with all sisters? You say you have six, right?
Yeah, I have an interesting story as far as the true. It's not a traditional six, but it's a six. I say more publicly now. I do have some god brothers in there as well too. To me, it was kind of normal. But as I'm growing up and looking back, I'm realizing it probably wasn't so normal. In just the context of how we all were raised together in this sense of family, that's what I think is kind of giving me that foundation of just patience and willingness to come together, is just thinking a little bit differently. Sometimes I think I'm connected a little bit too much to my feminine side, being raised by nothing but primarily women for the most part, with the exception of godfathers and uncles and things like that have came in and out of my life. But
to be in touch with your feminine side, to me, that just means that you listen, or maybe you're more present. And it's interesting that we put that on men, of having that be some sort of a negative, where same with on women. Oh, she's in touch with her masculine side because she, gets things done or is boss in her life.
right.
Isn't that interesting how we do that?
For me, it's a combination of that. You are right. But I also mean, as far as the way that I was raised, is you better be able to do both, right? You better be able to take care of the house, but you better be able to cook, clean, and do everything too. And you better open all the doors for all of us and have the chivalry side too. But I guess I see it because in a lot of my male friends, especially, like there's things that I hear they struggle with, the attentiveness and just things that I felt like I was almost groomed to do. And they tell me, well, man, we don't have that. We weren't raised like that. And I'm like, I don't necessarily know if that's just the female aspect, but more of just maybe how I was raised.
I think of, sports and military that's surrounding your town, which is hyper masculine, right? You think of
Right.
sport, military,
Mhm.
and then having that balance of the feminine energy growing up in that household. I'm sure that was an interesting, the minute you leave the house, you have these outside influences informing you, and then inside the house, it's a whole other vibe.
Mhm. I took a personality test one time at an organization I was with prior, and it it labeled me pretty much as a chameleonaire and being able to adapt to multiple areas. And I did some inner work, and I'm like, what does that actually mean? And I thought about just my upbringing. So grew up in, like I said, Hampton, Virginia, primarily more in a black area. But then my mother pushed us to go to more predominantly white schools. So I would leave the house in this area where it was predominantly black, and there was things going on that made me kind of question to go to a better school and get a better environment. But even from that moment, I would go to the schools and wouldn't be accepted because I'm pretty much the only black person in the school. Well, not in school, but in classes. So I wasn't accepted there. But then when I came home, all my friends that were in my neighborhood, they would tell me, why don't you go to school with us? And I'd get questioned that way. And I would have to adapt almost to this person that had to survive in either world.
The code switching.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had to do it my whole life.
Yeah. Do you find that now as an adult that comes up a lot, or are you more integrated into yourself as far as just you exist in the world as who you are instead of thinking about it?
It's just started, I would say, in the last year, maybe give or take 2 years. It truly started for me during the pandemic, where the isolation and realizing I'm not necessarily showing up 100% as I want to, and who I am. It's something as simple as, and I've talked about this to my friends and family, like even with my hair, never had hair, never, I was very clean cut, looked like very professional suits, ties, everything like that every day. And it was just things that I wanted to do that I think not just myself, I think all of us at some point during the pandemic, it changed us and who we are. Just for me, it was more I lived too much in the corporate world and I cared too much about what everybody perceived me as versus showing up who I am authentically, which has been a focus of me as of late. I think the isolation from the world that I was used to being in, right? You're sitting in meetings every day. At the time, I had just done an acquisition. So I was flying to Chicago every other week for the last 2 years. I was always on. I was dealing with the FTC to get an acquisition approved and dealing with just a lot of corporate that I had to always be on for almost 2 years. And then the pandemic hit and that just completely stopped.
The pandemic did such an interesting thing to humans. And I often think about this when I'm at the airport. When I say, God, that people at the airport just feel feral anymore. It's just like, what is that movie? Thunderdome, where everybody's just out for themselves and being intense and shoving and not paying attention to the outside of themselves. And it's almost like we've all forgotten, in a way, how to human or something. Or maybe we never had it at all. And it just, we had a little bit more practice when we were amongst each other.
I agree with that. I talk about this all the time. I'm an overgiver and I'm guilty. That's like, I will give here, just take it. I don't care because I feel like we are supposed to help each other. That is the whole purpose in us being in this alive, right? We're supposed to do good, love each other, and help each other and ascend to another level of honestly consciousness. But I think we as a society are so self-absorbed into me, right? And we don't realize that if we would actually help each other, we would all be better.
I mean, that's why I didn't really know anybody at that party. I mean, I knew the hosts, obviously, but and then I sat down and we immediately started talking. And to me, that's normal, and that's how we should all be. We should all just start talking to each other. If
Right.
our own self unassuredness or fish out of water, or I don't know anybody, or what if I say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, or whatever it is, we I think what I recognized in you that I feel like I have in me too is that it's just like, oh, here's a human being that is smiling and friendly and chatty. And
And it's an energy. It's almost like a welcoming energy. I get it from my mom because she's the same exact way.
Does it tire you out? Do you feel like you give a lot of yourself? You said you give and give and give, but emotionally, do you think that when you get home at night, do you kind of crash out?
I do. I absolutely do. And I'm trying to find that balance too. I am an empath, so I feel things. I feel energy. Immediately when I feel people, I can sometimes, growing up, this was an issue with me because I didn't know what this was. I would feel drained or I would feel tired. And it's not necessarily me I'm feeling, I can feel others. Through practice, you have to elevate your energy either higher than the room or sometimes you have to leave the room and just take a minute for yourself. It's okay to tell others, hey, I just need a moment for myself or, to show up as the best version of yourself.
It makes all the difference in the world to replug into oneself. But that is something that's hard to learn if you're a giver.
Very hard. I still struggle with it because at the same token, I know, and I pray over things, right? I ask for guidance. I'm not perfect by any means. I'm human and I mess up all the time. But I can honestly say I've helped more than I've hurt the majority of these people in my life, and it is a balance. It is truly a balance. That party went to, I drove just for the day, just to show up for my friends. You know what I mean? Because I, I had a feeling that was going to happen, but my confirmation happened, and the proposal, and the housewarming, everything just it was so beautiful. And most people, my friends, tell me, "Well, why are you're driving there for a day? That's crazy." And it's like, no, you show up for your people.
Yeah, and I think as we grow older too, we draw in, if we're lucky, we draw in people that don't take advantage of that kindness. Kindness is not weakness.
Right. Right. That's a fair statement that I also get all the time because just because I'm kind does not mean you can take advantage of me. I will speak up.
Yeah, I think that's a lesson a lot of empaths have to learn kind of early on because we get beat up a bit in
Hmm.
the world, and then one day you wake up, you're like, I'm kind of tired of that. When you were in school, you and I joked that you said you were a nerd. When you were in school growing up, were you already drawn to things that were numerical and sciencey and all that? Did you find yourself being pulled in that direction instead of you grew up in a town that's really big on sports and military instead of that?
I grew up playing sports, playing basketball. And in my head, I was going to be the next Michael Jordan. However, life had a different path for me, and that's okay. I found myself as a child always tinkering, right? I like to take things apart, put them together, and I was just creative from a technology perspective. And then I have my godfather, who was the first person that really showed me. He always had computers, and he's prior military, air traffic controller with the Air Force. And so he always had this stuff, just stuff that now is normal, but then he had computers back when they weren't so normal to have them. And my God family was big on just we always came together. My mom was like their mom because my God family's their mother actually passed, and so my father wasn't in my life, so he kind of gave me that security there. And so from there, I would go over to his house. He'd give me his old computers, and that's where it started. It was, I'd go play basketball, I'd come do all this stuff, and then I'd come home and I'd slowly learn about computers. And then growing up the way we grew up, we were poor. So when he gave us his old computers, they were outdated. So I started to learn slowly, okay, I need to go and buy these things to make it move faster or more memory, and slowly started building on that over time. By that time, in around high school, I'd say maybe middle school, high school, computers were more of a thing, and they started actually showing, okay, let's teach you how to type. Let's teach you how to do all these things. And I'm typing 120 words a minute, and I'm like, this is not normal. And I'm telling my mom, she's like, yeah, my son can type so fast. I'm like, Mom, I don't know how to explain it. I just understand computers. Once I'm sitting down with one, even to this day, it's a gift for me to being able to understand applications, and not have the formal training. It feels almost euphoric for me to when I'm on a computer and I'm solving a problem, and almost to the point it can be a curse sometimes because I will stay in my office for 3 days straight to solve a problem. And so I think that's the fascination. Like even when AI came out, right? I was obsessive over it. Like, okay, let me understand this. It was something that I've always had the ability to see things for their true potential later on faster than others. And so when that happens, I'm like, okay, how can I truly understand this? I started tinkering more and more and more and starting understanding the computer more. And my godfather, he big Star Trek guy and Star Wars, so we were always talking about the typical nerd stuff, and we would always be talking about computers. And then I had this one friend who was a little bit older than me in my neighborhood. He was always on computers as well too. And so we started just talking about things. We'd be downloading music when we should not have been downloading music, but that's what we did, and putting things on CDs and selling them and doing whatever we had to do. But I started seeing as this is an opportunity of like, there's something more to this. I don't understand it now, but it's going to come to me one day.
Did you go to college for computers?
Now, went to school for business management. Did my first job out of college was at Enterprise, the car rental company. So learned about business from there, and then I got an opportunity to work for a government contractor in Dallas, Fort Worth. So that got me to escape Virginia and move to Texas. And I think that job has kind of made me get more technical, learning about databases. It started with Excel, but then it just extended out to SQL, learning about networks, how everything interacts together. And then from there, I got an opportunity to move to Arizona, which was a different level of technical with management of computers, and a team and projects and overseeing just, a company being sold. I've been very fortunate. I mean, even when I was in Texas, we supported the military as a government contractor. So I spent some time in Afghanistan. We would go to Kuwait, done meetings in Dubai. I was very fortunate early on.
First of all, it must have been hard to suddenly leave a big family like that and be on your own. Was that difficult?
No, I have my own bathroom. I can.
Not a tampon in sight.
Right. I don't have anything, no one yelling at me. No, have my own space. No, I was, so I played basketball in Italy and Greece when I was 16.
Oh, wow.
And when I did that, it was a sports ambassador program called People to People. When I did that, that changed my life. I was ready to leave immediately. And my mother will vouch for me on this too, is that when I came back, I looked different and I was a completely different person because I realized there was a bigger world than Hampton, Virginia.
I think I mean, I wish every kid could afford to travel the world because it does open up the mind and the soul so much.
It changed my life completely. I mean, I was not in the best situation sports wise, 'cause that's all I was living and breathing at the time. Grades were always fine. I didn't have the best coaching, but that opportunity, it changed my life completely when I got back. Even everyone when they saw me, I lost a ton of weight. I had all the baby fat. It just disappeared in that time period. And when I look back on life, that was a key pivotal moment for me.
And did you already start to develop businesses? Because I think I remember you saying that you sold a couple businesses in your young life. And were you already getting the seeds for that?
No, that was more just with the acquisition that I did. But I've always been kind of an entrepreneur, in some way or shape. When I look back, even as a kid on the computer selling CDs and music, right? And then from there, when I went to college and stopped pursuing basketball, I was working multiple jobs. I remember getting a contract as a DJ. So I taught myself how to DJ. It was at Everett University. That was the first school I went to. But all the music, ironically enough, that I had downloaded before ended up becoming my music now that I could use to actually go and make money at the university. And so I would do gigs. I remember telling my friends, they're like, how'd you learn how to DJ? And where did this come from? I'm like, well, technically my mom and I guess my dad told me they used to DJ before, but I never physically saw it. But I remember we did have this one turntable growing up that I would just play with. And so I'm like, this can't be that hard, right? You can teach yourself how to DJ. You just figure it out. And I figured it out.
You were the kid that took apart and re-put together the toaster, probably, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And tried to make a TV out of the toaster or,
Yeah.
but it's always been like that. I've always had to make the best with what I have to figure it out. And even now, I do some consulting on the side, right? And I've been able to leverage my experiences throughout life and helping people to help a lot of small businesses that are trying to scale up. But I don't know, life's a circle. It all comes together. It really does.
Let's talk about AI. That really got us going at the party. Do you, first of all, what is your perspective on AI, where it is now and where it's heading?
We're all doomed. I'm kidding, but it's
Are you though?
I don't know. I don't know. I spend too much time with AI.
You train it, yes?
I train the models as well as I leverage it on a day-to-day basis. So I leverage it on the aspect of, like we all do, right, in some way or shape, but some of us are more heavily into it, where you're looking at building the models. So case in point, if I were to want to have an analyst, think of an analyst, a financial analyst. We'll say stock market, right? Got a stock market, somebody that's a financial analyst or they're a financial broker. And so what they do is they look at data all day. They make business decisions. They might call you and say, hey, we think these stocks are going to do well and you should invest your money in these stocks, right? They have to do a ton of research all day and night. That's what they do. Now, in this case, I would look to work with myself and my team because it's not just me, but we would look at all the data elements and build the model to where we could potentially have a financial analyst that's doing the insights. That's the AI model. So theoretically, either that financial analyst can leverage that tool to then help its clients faster in this first wave of AI, right? But this next wave that I think that we can get to in this example is that it would theoretically become autonomous, meaning the data is free flowing into the AI model. And there's multiple different levels of AI. It's not just this one all size fits everything. But theoretically, and this is where I'm more curious and still trying to understand more, even with OpenAI and all these different companies, is what is driving the back end model for them? Like what is their back end like in the financial model, I'm telling you, that's just one type of model. But within their model, it's a language model, but it also can do other things, right? It can do math, it can do analytics. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, but it's constantly evolving. And so that's the thing I think at some point we will need governance because that's what everyone's fearful of, right? Even myself. AI is going to take over my job, right? It's just like when computers just came out. We continue to evolve as humans, but we will get to a point where we're almost creating our own demise, I'll say, right? Where it scares me and I'm with AI. I love it, but it scares me too because I pretty much do the work. I can do the work of 3 to 4 people on my own, but if you give me AI, it does make me feel superhuman almost. Like I can do 10 to 15 times faster because I know how to use it. I know how to go and ask it the right questions.
All right, let me get this sort of wrapping my brain around it. Right now, AI is like a super coach that's teaching you how to teaching humans how to do things and making whatever they know that much faster. But the only thing AI has is what it's fed to by humans. But we're going to reach a point where I don't know how to say this exactly. So it's my understanding that everything AI is and does is based on everything that's already been done. It's not like they're creating new things. They can only evolve themselves based on what's already been created, right?
It depends, kind of, because it can forecast, right? It depends on the data that it's given. So there's some, I think, and I might be wrong on this, and that's okay, but like within an open AI, I think they're scraping the internet. So that's a ton of information. It's a lot, you know? And within that, it can theoretically do things the same way we would. Because we only as humans, we only know what we know, but we have to have the ability to think forward too based off of what we know, right? So to make up with that decision, it's going to evolve, especially when you put AI with quantum computing.
Explain that a little bit, what that means.
Okay, so think of Pac-Man, right? Pac-Man goes through the maze. It goes just like through the maze. You're trying to get through there one at a time, all through every decision and get to the end, right? Now, quantum computing looks at every possible way to solve that maze. So instantaneously, then it can come up with a solution. So it's completely different. Whereas all of the computers now are zeros and ones, quantum computing can be a zero and a one at the same time to solve the problem.
So while AI is looking at something and seeing all the potential possibilities and working through the problems based on what humans have told it to think, quantum mechanics, it does that all instantaneously and maybe even thinks of things that the AI didn't think of.
Correct. It would be, think of the quantum computing as like a new computer and the AI is the brain. When you put the two together,
We're screwed.
I mean, once quantum computing, there's like an arms race right now, right? All these companies are quietly, I mean, AI is phenomenal, but I'm more thinking about quantum computing because quantum computing is that's going to change everything. It will change our infrastructure. Like we were talking about earlier with passcodes and everything, all that stuff breaks because it can come up with the solution. It's like the keys to the world almost. And it can predict better things that will happen because of it'll be able to go through every possibility. It's a statistician's like dream to have this when it actually is created. Like there are times when I'm asked to predict business that's going to happen and if we get it, what's going to happen, or if we're going to lose, or when are we going to lose it from a retail model that will take me weeks to do. The AI will be able to do it with quantum computing in seconds.
Wow. But that would almost make the stock market, make everybody an insider trader or something, right?
Theoretically, if you're going to be a day trader, you could be able, it would. Like our entire infrastructure will have to be changed.
I mean, that's the thing where I think about where people I know have floated the idea of a universal paycheck. Every human makes XYZ amount of money and then the computers run the world. The problem is greed, right? It's not like the ultra rich are going to be contented with having their caste system taken away.
Or there won't be that. It'll just be, I don't know. I feel like this is probably going to get too deep, but I feel like this is almost like the end of days because once we get to one world society, one religion, one everything.
I just don't see that. I just feel like humans are kind of dicks. Like, do you really think we'll get to a point where we'll be one anything? I mean, maybe, but even now we're in the throes of, I feel like this epic. Do you ever read Stephen King, The Stand?
Right.
This epic good and evil kind of thing. If evil were the greedy overlords and the good were just the people literally just trying to put food on the table.
We are greedy. I mean, I love things that Elon Musk has created, but if you look at him just as one person, he is a multi-billionaire and he worked his ass off to get there, and I will give it to him. But why do you need that amount of money when there's so much going on in this world that you could help?
Well, and why are you trying to get to Mars when you could turn around? That's the other thing that makes me insane. I'm not trying to tell rich people or people who've earned all their money or whatever how to spend it or anything like that. But just let's just take Christ consciousness, just for the sake of existing in a world with other people. How do you not look around, have all that money, and know you could make a difference and not do it? That's the thing that I'm saying. It's like, hey, I think I made that joke to you the other day. Is like
Yeah.
AI, if it's programmed to make sure humans do no harm, that they don't harm humans, and then ultimately, what if they realize, oh wait, the greatest threat to humanity is humans,
Right.
and just infinity stones everybody out of here.
Right. I don't know. I think I don't know. I struggle with that. Like my friends, they tell me this all the time. You're too nice. You're this. And I'm like, I'm too nice, so I'm treating and loving people how they're supposed to.
Why is that a bad thing?
And it's frowned
It's
upon.
considered weakness, and it's so weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe we're weird.
When I was driving around LA, I just because I don't go there often, I saw so much homelessness, and I'm like, this
So
is a movie. This is something. This is seriously a scene from a movie. And there's so many wealthy people here. You mean to tell me you guys can't go buy land?
nobody wants it in their yard. Everybody wants something to be done about it, but nobody wants to do the thing that will take care of it. And when I'm out there in the world, I'm just like, okay, I'm putting on the Infinity Stones. Why can't I ever think of that guy's name that did that?
Thanos.
Yeah, I'm ready to Thanos everybody out there, including myself. I mean, I'll go too. And then another day goes by and I'm okay again. But it does. I don't know. Now we're getting really like philosophical, but AI could never have this conversation, or maybe it could.
It probably could. It
Oh
probably could.
gosh.
Yeah.
Actually, my friend Rachel, who I adore, she and I talked today, and she uses is a chat GBT. This is how woefully ignorant I am of all things AI because it freaks me out. And as a creative, I'm like, nope, staying away from that. But she'll get into a conversation with someone and she's like, who's right? Who's wrong? And she'll read the text to the AI and the AI will be like, you were right.
Oh my
I
goodness.
see. I could see it. Maybe it'll be useful in arbitration or marriage counseling, or I don't know. I don't know.
At first, when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, this is great. And I loved it. And then my younger sister, who I love, my younger sister, Kayla, I love her to death. And she's a graphic designer and she is absolutely talented. Like when she's ready, she will do it. She will produce greatness on the level of Disney and Netflix and the she is so talented. You see someone so talented, you're like, when they're ready, it's gonna happen, right? And when I talk to her and I could hear the pain in her voice because she's like, all of these studios are now just talking about we're going to just use AI and not use you. And my sister she's been drawing. I remember her winning competitions in the third grade against college artists, draws to the point her hands hurt, right? And I hear that in her voice, the pain, because this is her passion. And people are just, I mean, they're taking it away. There is still value in the human element. There's still value in that creative side. These same conversations we're having right now, we have it like when we talk on the phone, and it just shows me too, like the impact that this is going to have for everyone. Not just it's everybody. No one's safe.
Do you think in the realm of creativity that for everything from poetry to music to art, and paintings and movies and all of this, that the humans will be distrustful of that there'll be some part of it that just doesn't feel right or sit right? Or do you think we are adapting? I feel like we're already being trained by TikTok, these 3-second bites or 10 seconds or 20 seconds. And now there's a bunch of AI flooding TikTok, and it's all just sort of slowly getting us all conditioned into quick, uh, doesn't go very deep, isn't realistic. Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
know what you mean. No, no, you're right. And we are being, I think we're being conditioned, but we're also training our replacements too, right? Like, I think we're being conditioned to get that instant gratification in 30 seconds and versus this, right? This human interaction, this ability for us to have a conversation, most people can't do now. And the younger generation won't be able to do it. I was just at a seminar and they were telling us that we are the last generation that will only manage just humans because they will have to manage humans and AI and robots, right? I don't know. It's an interesting times that we're getting ready to go through that, and I don't think we're all ready for it all.
I don't think we're ready either. I because I don't think we have a grasp on our own humanity yet.
Right.
And so here we are struggling to find our own humanity, and we're going to introduce these non-human things into our everyday life. What will that do to us? Will that just send the depression spirals even further down? Will we rise to the occasion and evolve because that's what people do? Or it's a real curious, it's real curious.
There's a government organization called DARPA. They are the ones who typically make all the technology we get, but they've already had it. Like the internet's been around since the 60s or 70s. Cell phones, all that stuff, but we just now were released to society.
It was the military first.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They have, I mean, the best of everything before we get it. And that's DARPA's whole thing is just focused on creating technology that I mean, it changes the world. And they're always 20 years in advance, always.
That's why when I said to you, do you think that there's already AI, human, hybrid, whatever it is, or just an android or something that's already passing in society? And you said probably, and I said probably, because of course there is. It sounds ludicrous.
We've talked in our lifetime, you're talking about we've went from a banking system where there was bank tellers to now there's no bank tellers. You can go self-service yourself. You can go send money digitally, right? We're evolving too fast, even for our own good, to where it's going to get scary to me in the next 10 years. Like, I can't even think back. I mean, if you think about it, 10 years ago, there was no AI, right?
That we knew of.
That we knew of, right? That we could publicly go and use. Prior to that, there was other technology. I mean, if you look at even, I'm going to use Amazon because I was watching Jeff Bezos's life story on YouTube the other night. And I'm watching this video of him in the 90s with this big ass sign that says Amazon plastered to his
In his
thing.
garage. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, I mean, look at, you know what I mean? Look at the evolution that fast. And if you think about it, we're not talking 200 years. It's evolving almost too fast.
Right. It's a snake that eats itself.
Absolutely.
Do you think humans are even necessary?
I think we are necessary. I think we need to slow down.
The children's children, the few generations from now, will humans and AI be married? Will it be that an AI ironically has more humanity than a human?
Hmm. Damn, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think people are already having, I don't know if it's considered parasocial if it's AI, but I think people are already starting to develop. That's how lonesome. We're so lonely.
Right.
9 billion people on the planet, and everyone is just terribly lonely.
hmm The companionship, I don't know. I feel like sometimes social media is the blame too, because
That's a
we're,
big part of it.
we're never happy with what we have. We're always seeking more. We're never content. I mean, you think about it, back in the day, you met someone that was in your local town. That's all you knew. You know, you didn't get on social media and start looking at all these other people. There were no dating apps. There was nothing. It was just you met someone. You might have met them at the grocery store doing something social, getting out of the house, and then you build a relationship from there. Now it's just, I don't like you. Cool. I'll replace you. I'll go on a nap.
Yeah. You said you didn't do social media, but you used to. Was that a hard transition to make?
No. Living the life of at the time lavish and partying all the time. I love to go out. I love good food. I love to dance. But what I found is that as I did come into a little bit of money at the time, how I was portraying myself and showing everyone the things that I was doing was not necessarily a good thing. And I would get the energy I could feel was not the most positive. And a lot of it was my own doing. It's not anybody else's because I chose to allow that side of myself to be seen. And it just made me focus more on myself. Like, who am I trying to prove myself to? Why am I showing everything that I do? I'm not a social media influencer. You know, I don't have these millions of views. I often joke when people ask because we were at the party talking like you have Instagram, and I was like, no, I have LinkedIn, right? But typically I just tell people like, no, I have MySpace, and you
That
can
made
follow
me
me on
laugh so
MySpace.
much when you said that, though. I was like, "Oh, are you on Instagram?" You're like, "No, I'm on LinkedIn." I was like, "That's the nerdiest. That's the best thing to say ever." It made me laugh.
It's the truth, though. I mean, I don't know. At some point, I will come back. I've been saying it now for almost 5, 6 years, but it
But
didn't
why?
happen
I mean,
again.
what's the purpose of it, really? I mean, I'm on there because I'm trying to promote like the movie or, if I paint a picture or
Right.
something like that. But I don't put a lot of my own personal stuff on there just because I have to have something that's mine.
I completely agree with that. I think the one thing I do miss is seeing family and friends from back home or people that I haven't talked to in a while. It was a good way to keep those doors open.
You have a company that you help people
I do.
build their companies. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. So the name of my company is called Created Within. And it's on the premise of the idea that the reality that we live in today was an idea that was created within. So it doesn't matter what your business is or what type of models you do. I help multiple small business owners. I've helped bigger companies, you name it, make their ideas become reality, right? So you as yourself could say, "Hey, Chad, I want to do a movie and I want to do X, Y, and Z. Technology wise, can you help me?" And I would go in, do an assessment of what's going on and how I can help you. And if I'm not the right person, I probably have someone in my network that can help you, and then just make it reality.
Okay. And your website for your business?
Yes, it's created within. So CreatedWithin.com.
I saw when we were at the party, you were talking to that guy that was trying to expand his business. I think that is the issue, right? That we're we get caught in between oh, I don't really want to promote myself because that feels gross, but having to promote yourself because that's how you grow your business. And it's tricky, right? It's how do you navigate that stuff? That's where you come in, I suppose, where you say, I can do it for you. You don't have to feel gross about it.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely will help. I've not done a ton of marketing at all. It's been 100% organic. It's been 100% like when you and I were talking, you're like, well, how do you grow your business? And then this guy literally walks up. He does one of the verticals I do within transportation. And I'm like, this is exactly what happens to me. I can't make this up. I've had clients that have referred me to other clients, but my whole core business model is helping. I'm not here to, take advantage of anyone. If anything, I'm trying to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of in some of the decisions that you're making in your business. I know there have been things that I've went through in my entrepreneurship that I wish I had some help or at least a network to be able to talk to. And so even if I don't, like I said, if I don't have the answers, I'm still going to put you in the right circle of people that might be able to know someone who can help because sometimes you just want to know somebody that's been through it and be able to talk to them and not say, okay, this person's just not in it to just make money off of me. He's truly trying to help me.
Do you go back to your old neighborhood or your community and see young people like yourself and
I need to be better about that back home. At one point in time, I was doing a ton of at-risk youth programs. I am a part of an organization now. I just joined their board where it's focused on financial literacy and helping the youth back home so that it is actually established for back home. When I leave this earth at some point, I will leave here. Things will be better. That's my personal goal is to leave, whether it's for my family, whoever, right? Leave it better than what I had in some way or shape, right? Not just talking money either, like leave it better. And if you come up with that, that's my mindset is just, and I mean, I work my ass off to do it every day. There's days I'm tired and you get up. You don't have to have the motivation, you have to have the discipline
oh, that's good. I like that.
every day.
So on your deathbed, would you have your consciousness transferred into an AI?
Absolutely. Sure. If they can change my body for consciousness to like someone that's like 6'7", that way I could at least pursue my basketball side at least for a little while longer, taller, just to see if I was going to make it. No, I think
Think
I
about
don't
how
think.
bad your knees would be in like 10 years,
Oh
though. So
my
you
God,
saved yourself from that.
see, but that's why we're gonna have the AI. It's gonna create this whole medical thing to cure
Yeah.
all diseases.
I do look forward to actually the way that doctors can disregard their patients is it's a real problem. And so I think I mean it's such a catch-22, right? I don't want AI to take over humans' jobs. I think that's a terrible thing. But at the same time, if an AI actually listens to me when I say, hey, this is something that's going on with me and doesn't just dismiss me as being hysterical or doesn't know what I'm talking about or whatever,
Right.
then why
Right.
wouldn't I want that? We humans, we just have to do better.
We have to do better, and I think right now we're in the sweet spot of AI. We're not in the spot of AI where it's going to take our jobs. We're in the spot where it'll make you superhuman. It'll make you, if you're the graphic designer, you know the right lingo to use that I don't know at all, right? It will make you this next level talent if you use it the right way because you know the right things to say. It's the same thing as a doctor, right? My girlfriend actually works in the healthcare industry, and we're always talking about AI and how it's impacting the hospitals. And so that's something I'm looking forward to. Like, are you going to be able to cure cancer? Are we going to be able to early detection? Correct. Like, there's all these things that I'm like, all right, there's something here
So
that
then we get to live longer on a planet that doesn't give a shit about us. No, is that catch 22?
yeah, it is.
It's a fascinating topic.
Hmm. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, the military is really where all the AI race, I feel like it's all about, well, it's probably data mining, but it's all about military. So, I mean, I have a writer's mind, right? So I come up with all sorts of wild and woolly scenarios.
No, I've thought of the same thing, like weapons, DNA targeted weapons, right?
Yes.
So being able
Yes.
to target someone specifically based off their DNA.
When they said when I read that the 23andMe, which I did 23andMe, and it was fascinating, but then I saw that it got hacked, and now somebody somewhere in some place in the world has everyone's genome sequence, and I thought to myself, let's see, now how could I use that as a biological weapon? I could literally take this very specific DNA code that's just for me and go bleep 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 create a virus that's just for my specific DNA strand or my genome or my because everybody's got their own individual, type up this little thing, make a little icky, send the icky out into the world. Eventually it will find me and I'll drop dead and
Right.
none will be the wiser. And I thought, is that insane? And then I don't think it's
Not.
crazy.
It's not. It's real. I think it can definitely be happening. Like it's not a coincidence that got hacked. So random. I was in a store. They had told me they were like, this is going to start happening. Do not ever do anything as far as these programs that are coming out. And I'm like, why is this guy telling me this? I think it was in the middle of a freaking Best Buy. And I'll be sure as hell the next like time, like years and months went by, 23andMe is a thing, like all these different genetics. And I'm just like,
It was from the future, probably.
right. I'm like in Best Buy, of all places.
Where would you go though if you're from the future? I'm like, I'll go to Best Buy. So many
Right.
people believe me. Chad, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime. I appreciate you. This was fun.
It was fun. Thank you for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Rate, review, and subscribe to Hey Human Podcast on Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks. Bye.